There we are. Greetings, dear ones. Happy Friday, the 3rd of January. First few days of the year. We are heading into a weekend that includes what many call Little Christmas, Three Kings Day, the Epiphany, which for me is a big celebration, not just because of the years I lived in Latin America where it was sometimes more important than at what we call Christmas, but also it's always struck me as a significant day. A little bit of the rush is gone. We have part of the new year. Some of the old is still lingering. Celebrations are still possibly going on. People still getting together, reassessing for the new year. It's a very special weekend, I would say, and a great opportunity. So we worked with in the last event, not our Friday revolutionary revelations, but in the ending of the old, calling in the new evening event, we actually worked with some of the old. And coming up on January 25th, that's a Saturday, we're going to be doing an all day cleansing, clearing, and I'm going to take away that word. It's not resetting. We are creating anew. We're in a time right now where adjusting the old is not working. It's not going to work. So we are seeing the radical and very huge push by the old way, the old guard, the old structure that we've been exploring under for the past many thousands of years. And as I've said for many years in my talks and videos and teachings, that is unsustainable. It is old. We all know that now. It is not going to continue. The next step in that exploration and learning about that form of polarity and separation would be to completely take it out to its finality where we blow each other up in a nuclear war or some other means of devastation. We've been there, done that many times on many planets. This is different. This is unlike anything that has ever gone on in the universe before. Not evolution, certainly that has gone on. Evolution in a humanoid form, again, that has gone on successfully and not so in many places. But the fact that, and you may have heard me say this before, the fact that the universe itself is evolving, the galaxy and many others, that includes all of the galaxies, but certainly ours is in a major evolutionary leap process, the Milky Way. And it focuses down to our planet as being the absolute microcosm. We are the game board. You've heard me say that before. And you actually are a significant and vital player on that game board. So we have all these levels of evolution simultaneously and concentrated right here on this planet and through your current life. But also, the thing that makes this so unique is that it's happening, the size of the evolutionary leap, and that it's happening in a very short period of time. So we're just beginning to see the push from the old getting stronger. It's just beginning. People don't want to hear bad news. They don't want to hear about the negative, but it is coming. We are seeing governments collapse all around the world. We're seeing democracies undermined, deconstructed. And we're going to see that here in this country. I'm not going to pull punches. And it is very, very purposeful. I'm not saying that to scare anyone, to upset anyone, but for you to be aware of the fact that it has grand purpose, just like in one's life. I just talked to a beautiful lady that I met several years ago that had begun one of the most amazing, you can call it a business, but it is a way of allowing both children and adults to access deep creative processes and to follow these processes and discover more about themselves and express themselves in the world. And I spoke to her, and she actually, that business did not have the success that she wanted it to have, and she's back working again. And while there's nothing wrong with that, it's not her ideal. And when we were talking, it was surfacing that some of the deep old patterning within her is what is being called for transformation, transmutation, and even transfiguration, which are different levels of change and evolution. And, you know, it's very, very difficult to access the roots of our patterns. That's why the process that I work with clients was created over many decades, not by me and my mind alone. Yes, my background, my education, etc., my studies, my explorations energetically, and teachers galore. But this was a process created over decades with very specific timing and very specific process to be able to go to the deepest levels. That's why the work that I do individually with clients is really for those that are on a mastery level course, a soul mastery level course or project this lifetime. And those are the leaders, the visionaries, those that are forging paths that have never been on this planet before. And they're, most of the people that I know, my colleagues, the teachers that I've had, are actually hitting walls. And it's because there is a much deeper level to access the root of the root, transmute, transfigure, and allow for a level of humanness that, combined with divinity, your divinity, that has never been on this planet and perhaps at that level in existence except for some of the greatest masters and teachers that we have names for here on this planet: Buddha, Jesus, Confucius, many others. So you are here with that project purpose. And this year, this coming into this year where we're going into great devastation, great crisis, great turmoil, great darkness, great suffering, is purposeful to, yes, awaken us, but more so is that it sparks, catalyzes our participation. And that participation is not only in activism out in the world. I was watching Casablanca for the 100th time the other night in the background on New Year's Eve, as a matter of fact. And it just brought me to tears watching, they start out the movie with some of the scenes of Europe being overrun and, forces coming in that want to take over and control the, Nazi regime, etc. And it struck me, here we are again. And yet the force and the light and the power of that story, of that movie, is in the underground. What can be done behind the scenes despite being overrun and conquered by any sort of force. And we are going to have to, each of us, be the underground again and stand up for and work for and, yes, fight for. Not in a clash of battles and weapons, but fighting for in that we will not back down when our rights are compromised. We will not back down when those that are unable to help themselves are being attacked and eliminated. Be it animals, be it land, be it the poor, be it, the infirm, what have you. So it's an exciting time because of all that I've been mentioning. The creative forces are magnifying exponentially daily, and we have access to that. And so this portion today, or this talk today, is encouraging you to create anew. Modification on the old is not enough, as I mentioned. Strangely enough, I was having some challenges with my heater, and on a beautiful Facebook community group, I asked, does anybody know, because my heating company that did maintenance every year went out of business. And I got all kinds of suggestions. I would say guidance led, because there had to be at least 15 possibilities. Guidance led to a particular company, and a particular, he happens to be a sole business owner. And he came out right away this morning, and we were chatting and talking about the system and its various vents for when there is pressure buildup and air gets in the system. And there are 4 different venting systems for handling that pressure. And we were also discussing my work, and what I was sharing with him is that despite whether it's allopathic, and I may, tweak some noses with this, whether it's the allopathic approach, which is the medical system and current therapeutic practices, or the healing world, new age world, all of the methods and wonderful tools, wonderful skill learning processes that you can utilize yourself are all cognitive awareness and behavior modification. And it is a fabulous, fabulous start and progression to what one can do in exploring, uncovering, bringing to the light, bringing to awareness why certain things affect you, why certain relationships keep showing up, etc., etc. However, that can only reach so far. And just like whether it's governmental adjustment with laws, regulations, policies, they can only do so much when human nature is working against that, so to speak. So we have our own human nature, and within that human nature are our patternings from childhood. So no matter how much awareness you come to have about the wound, about the issue, and the adjustments that you make, it is all an attempt to control. And until that pressure gets to a point where those controls, those skills, those tools are not sufficient, and there is a backup in your system, just like there was in my heating system, of pressure or a lack thereof, meaning that there isn't enough energy, you're not running enough energy through your system because of the blocks, the way in which we store it, the way in which we pack it away, all of which creates pressure inward. And yet there is a divine pressure pushing outward, this expression of the very essence of you, this calling forth of what would make your heart sing, what would allow you to live every day jumping out of bed, can't wait to do this. It's easy, it's fun, it's pleasurable, despite the fact that there's a lot of work involved. It doesn't feel that way. And so we come back to the lady that I mentioned earlier, and she's coming up against this inner pressure to express, to come out, to be who she is, to do what, is called for from her system. And yet she's being stopped in the circumstances of finances, apparent business and marketing practices, when in fact there is stoppage, or of course we all know about the wording blockage, but it's literally a pressure that we put on ourselves, not consciously. I'm going to repeat that. These are not, some of them may be, we're aware of our own what's called self-sabotage, etc. I don't use that term because it is more a factor of your defense system. Self-sabotage implies that there's something you can do to fix it or change it, and if you don't, then you're to blame. And that's not the perspective of this work. This is all patterning. This is your defense system trying to protect a little child who in its world still exists, has no clue that you're now an adult. So its methods are to hold everything in place, to hold it as it was, to keep your feelings, your deep, strong, powerful emotions suppressed and hidden, because it is aware of and afraid that should that child, that small 2, 3, 5, 7-year-old child, feel the depth and breadth and extent of those powerful emotions, that it will explode, it will die, it will something, fill in the blank. So unbeknownst to us, this defense system works to hold everything down and away from the surface and away from our feeling states, as well as attempting to keep us safe because it was unsafe to express those emotions. It was unsafe to have those emotions. It was unsafe to feel those emotions as children. And so this work allows us to get into where and how those patterns got fixated in your system. Undo that fixation and reset your system back to its true nature, where that essence can come forth and express, where your playful, fun, easy, creative self is here in the world. So this outer pressure from not only your defense system, it's reinforced by society, it's reinforced by religion, it's reinforced even by, as I said, current psychological therapeutic practices, new age and healing world practices are all means of controlling letting out a little bit, again, like my venting system in my heating. You open up a little valve and it lets it vent. I've described this many times over the years as being the pressure cooker. And that little thing that rocks on the top, you take it off, there's a venting, but it does not stop the pressure. So we have this inner pressure wanting to come out, we have the outer pressure holding all of that in, and it results in grave response in the physical, whether it's radical financial challenges, whether it's your business not being what it should, would, could. Again, like the example I mentioned earlier of this woman who just has the most amazing just methods of assisting one's creative ways to come out, whether it's in a business, whether it's in a hobby, whether what have you. And so she's being stopped. And this outer and inner pressure, in some instances, for masters that I know, they're having horrific health issues, whether it's cancer in one or, it's just coming out in many, many different ways. Rupturing of relationships, marriages, etc., losing of jobs. It's on and on and on. Crisis, bringing to a head, bringing to crisis, stopping you in your tracks and saying you cannot go on this way any longer. And that adjustment and modification is not enough when you have such a grave crisis. So too, on the macrocosm, the adjustments, the policy changes, the governmental, the religious, etc., are not enough anymore. They are not reaching the deep levels of radical change and evolution that must occur in our species on this planet. We're bringing ourselves to a crisis, not only socially, but of course environmentally. It is, in all of these instances I've named, pretty much do or die. And I know that sounds radical, and it's, again, not meant to be scary, but every time I mention this to people, from Joe in the street to Susie Q when we're talking about deep transformation, everybody knows it. It's so exciting that while this deeper transmutation and transfiguration is going to take place, because transformation is not enough anymore. It's transmutation, transfiguration, metamorphosis, and beyond. So as this is occurring, we also have these powerful, as I said, exponentially, every week, exponentially more powerful forces and energetics for creation. Again, I liken it to magic, because magic is something that can happen in an instant. And on top of that, it's usually something beyond what we could have come up with, beyond what we could have imagined. But it's how we create and where we create from. So I'm going to give a very brief description on the 25th when we do this all-day ending of the old, bringing in the new, calling in the new, naming the new, and your system will be reset to new. We're going to be expanding on these practices, but for today, just for today, again, there's a lot of, I've had many decades of metaphysics training, practices, teaching, etc. And I know you've all heard, everybody's kind of afraid, oh, let me not say that in the negative. Let me not say think those things. That's not what this is about. That actually is a trap that I won't go into more here, but it is a trap that keeps you actually in the old. It keeps you separated from parts of you. So for today, our creation practice, we want to word it very simply, very succinctly, whatever your, and I'm going to call it a wish, whatever your wish may be. And you don't want a lot of details. You absolutely do not want to put a word it in such a way that you're saying without this or I don't want that in it, because anytime it is put, that energy is put into, you're kind of undermining or canceling out the creation forces. So we do want it in this case to be stated in not only what can be termed a positive way, but in a completed way. And the wording is very important, yes, because you want to have these very simple sentences, and I would say focus on one thing. Let's call it, I'm going to use the example of my home because it was it stands out as something to keep referring back to. So I was in a one bedroom condo, delightful. It was the model for the condo association, so I had an ideal location, etc. But it was certainly too small for me and my business and the expansion of that business, my practice with clients. So I looked at a couple hundred, at least, if not more, condos, townhouses, old homes, split levels, everything you could think of. And as I'd go through, there were certain things, oh, that's nice, oh, that's nice, aspects of the home or features in the home. Fireplace, for example. I grew up with a fireplace, love a fireplace. It's like, oh, that's a beautiful fireplace. But when I was creating my wish statements, I did not include those details because that's a level of control. And you want to work in cooperation and collaboration with your own helpers that you're not even aware of, forces and energetics that are beyond human capability of complexity, that have to line up in order to bring you what you desire. So, keeping it very simple in the statements, very succinct, but more than anything, the most important factor is to feel the completion of it. In other words, when I was making my statements, I was standing in my little condo, and which again, giving great gratitude for is very important. You're grateful for the state of your existence or your affairs in that moment. However, I could feel the confinement and the limitation of that space. And so I would bring myself initially through memory of being in wide open spaces in the West, in a large home of someone I visited. And I could feel the space. I could generate within myself the feeling of spaciousness, and that I could run through the house with my arms open wide and not run into walls. Whatever it may be that you need to generate the feeling that you will feel in this completed wish, or in this wish come true. And another factor for me was the light. I had lots of nice windows in the living area, but in my bedroom it was very, very dark, and that was very challenging for me. And so another important factor for me was having lots of light. And being able, I had a lovely location, as I said, in the condo association, where I had a large green area outside where my kitty at the time, Buddy, and I would go and hang out, and he would have fun playing in the grass, etc. And so that was an important factor, that wherever I was going to live had nature, had a place for me to be able to step out and be on land and work with land. Another important factor for me was the area that I wanted to live in. I was used to living in a certain area here in southern New Jersey. I had all of my customary places that I went to make purchases. I had doctors, dentists, etc. So I wanted to stay within a given mileage of where I was actually living. And finances were a challenge at the moment, and so I needed it to be within the price point that I wanted. So the wording came out to be I can feel myself in my new home with lots of light and air and space, and a separate area for my healing room, and an outdoor area where Buddy and I can commune with nature, and in the area that I want and for the price that I want. That's simple. But what was most important was being able to fill it with that sensation of lots of space and air and light, and not having to move furniture and adjust things for my healing space, that it could be separate and clients could be comfortable there, and that outdoors I could look up and look around me and feel the trees and step out onto the land and work with the land and have clients and students come and be on that land. So I was feeling it, and my kitty loved being outside, so I could feel him and the joy that we had being outside in our little space. And it was very important to fill that with those sensations. And the ease of being in an area that I'm comfortable in and that I enjoy, and for the price that I want, without having, to concern myself or be under massive stress. So again, the withouts do not go in your description. They do not go in that very succinct, very clear, and very short description. So again, I'm going to say it just so you're, aware of the shortness and the succinctness. I love being in my home with lots of light and air and space, and a separate area for my healing room, and an outdoors where Buddy and I can commune with nature in the area that I want and for the price that I want. Boom. What occurred eventually, by my following guidance, was a home beyond what I could have come up with the amount of details of the type of windows I wanted. If you're watching this rather than listening, you can see all of the light over here from one set of windows. This is my healing space. I have windows all the way around, down the hallway, the bathroom, the laundry room. Everything is full of light. Every room in this house has huge windows, tons of light, large space. Again, beyond what I could have imagined. Even more so, I am sitting in the earth here. The walls that you see, this is at earth level. So for me, as a healer and as a professional earth keeper, and from all the different sources that I call upon or that appear, there could not have been more ideal. So I could not have come up with this. And yes, there is a fireplace. So I want you to really get how powerful your creative abilities are when you fill them with the emotion and the feelings. That's the key. It's not about your mind. It's not about thinking about it. It's not about your thoughts. It's not even truly about the words. It is about you feeling. So whether it's something in your personal world, whether it's a work environment that you want to create, whether it's a business, whether it's a relationship, whether it's the safety and security that come with finances, whatever it may be, it is only as powerful as the feelings that you fill it with. So I invite you to take one thing and write something out very simply. Under this video, when I post this video, or, you know, direct message me, however, please write out what you came up with. I am happy to help you tweak it a little bit so that it's more in that flow of creation and energy and openness. But I want you to take advantage and what is the feeling? What are the feelings that you will have when you're in that existent state of work, relationship, home, what have you? Again, I am so happy to do so. And then on the 25th, we're going to be going much deeper into creation practices, what your particular way is, because clients I have create from the future, some create from the earth, some create from magic. There's all different ways. We're just as unique in our creative means as well. So we're going to be doing that very, very deeply on the 25th, all day from 11 to 5. So please write up your statements, very clear, very succinct, very short. Post them below this video and I will help you tweak them. We can even have a short conversation if necessary to help you get into that state of wish fulfillment, I'm going to call it. So as much as we have things coming to stop this creation of the new, the forces and energetics are so powerful and exponentially growing each day. And some of those that are here with us right now, the different forms of light are continuing. I've been bringing them forward, calling them, naming them as they've been appearing over the past, I'd say, almost a month. And while we have all of the known forms of light, whether it's within the color spectrum, whether it's all of the traditions of light that we're still in, because the epiphany is a form of internal light coming to an awareness, having an epiphany, this light bulb going off inside of us, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, what have you. And of course, the North Star, the beautiful star light that the three kings followed to be able to find the child, Jesus. And they all were scientists, alchemists, astrologers, sidereal astrology, the ancient astrology from various cultures. So the light of science, the illumination that comes to our, not just our minds, but to our worlds through science innovation, engineering innovation, physics, quantum mechanics, etc. All of these, biochemistry, chemistry, all disciplines of science right now are making discoveries and innovations that are mind-boggling, and in many instances completely negating all of the basis of our knowledge up until this point. In other words, archaeology and anthropology, when humans actually started doing certain things or living certain places, we thought we knew. The information currently coming out this past year or more is blowing that completely out of the water. The discoveries in physics are almost completely going back to the drawing board in many instances with physics and astrophysics. So, and it's happening very quickly. We have solutions to everything going on our planet right now. We have solutions to all of society's challenges. It is all right here. So too are your wishes. So too are the energies to bring them forward. Everything that could ever exist in this universe was present at the moment of its start, what's referred to as the Big Bang. All of those potentials are here. How do we call them in? How do we call them forth? How do we bring them to us? First and foremost, in my world, is by knowing thyself, transmuting, transfiguring, metamorphosizing those pieces within that stop that freedom. And number two, knowing, feeling yourself so deeply that you know that that is yours simply by request. You are a divine being. You are here on purpose. You are doing what you want to as a soul, utterly and completely, because this is a universe of free will. And so, therefore, it's like going on a trip and everything that you could possibly want or need is in your suitcase. It's just a question of finding it and utilizing it. So, these practices and more, once you are tapped into your true, actual, very unique source of creation, creative abilities, then it does happen even more quickly, more easily, more magically, let's call it. So again, please write it out, put it in the comments underneath this video. I am happy to help you. If you do want any help, that's fine, but I'm happy to help tweak those. And feeling these energetics of newness. There is an origin point concept that appeared earlier in the year. And this isn't just modification or adjustment of our universe. This is an entirely new concept of how this universe, with polarity still, is going to be, or is in process of becoming. And we have even new ways of law. And again, we'll talk about those things another day. But those are here in the mix. We have, again, an article, I'll try to post it here. Laser is being utilized to look at the spin of subatomic particles, which creates light of a subatomic form. And when we're working healing, oftentimes when I'm doing energetics with people, we're using subatomic energy to spin the atoms in such a way that it burns off, it lets fly off the old and the rusty, let's call it. So it's a very, very powerful form of change, cleansing, etc. And that's here in the mix today. We also have subluminal light, which is light that is faster than the speed of light. And in those levels, time adjusts. Time is no longer linear. Time can move forward and backwards. This is what I'm saying, that we can magically, like literally in an instant, change something on this planet. You can change something in your life. The fluidity of time is a huge factor. Many of you may have experienced either watching time go very, very slowly or speeding up different days. And I know we're used to seeing something like that, but this is different. Many people have commented that they're looking at clocks and then doing something and come back, and it's like there's no possible way that that could have been that short a period of time. So we're feeling and experiencing this fluidity of time. This is in our container today as well. And again, the divine gifts, the bringers of gifts, what we have this weekend represented by Three Kings Day, the Epiphany, that we are being brought these gifts. We are bringing gifts ourselves, our divine gifts to this world. So take advantage of that energy of being gifted, being a gift, and gifting. Yes, we just went through a whole time of presents and wrapping and under the tree, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, etc. But these are gifts of divine light, divine ways, divine forms. So take some time this weekend and tap into what it will feel like when this wish you're writing up is done. It's been gifted to you. It already has been gifted to you. It's a question of how and in what form it's going to show up to you. So much like children knowing that they've put their request into Santa Claus and it's going to happen. They're not worried about how it gets here, how he builds it, how he does it, how the reindeer fly, how he gets down a chimney, even when there's no chimney. They do not worry about that. And so should you not. All your work and effort is into feeling that completed wish. You are living in it, you are experiencing it, you are enjoying it every single day. Again, whether it's a house, whether it's work, whether it's a relationship, whether it's finances, whether it's your physical body. So we have all of that in the mix. And that is certainly not to exclude the dark, detrimental, because as I was mentioning earlier, it is absolutely vital, not just to bring us to crisis, but to make us realize that it is no longer something we want. Even in its most subtle, we can close our eyes to so much, we can turn off the feelings to so much, but when it's being provoked, we cannot any longer. So this gift of the dark forces, of the moving backwards, of the old attempting to hold on and control and suppress and dominate, is a gift. It is a gift, because if we do not feel it, we do not change it. And you know that in your own life. So that is in the mix. It is in our crucible. It is in this container as well. So I invite you now to just feel your body. That's a lot of information, a lot of brain working. But I've also been naming things and calling them out within your system, within your life, so that they can assist you in having the energy and the power to make new, to bring things to a point at which it is too uncomfortable and you are willing to do, sacrifice, let go of, what have you, of anything that creates that discomfort, no matter what it may be. So just breathing, no specific way, No controlling the breath either in the intake or the exhale. Just feeling it in your body, how the air is moving through your nostrils, through your throat, through your lungs, through your circulatory system, through every cell of your body. For without that oxygen, that life force, we just cease to exist. So make a friend of, begin a relationship with the element of air in and through your body. Just say hello, say thank you, say welcome, say wow. And allow that breath, however shallow it may be, however deep. And give deep gratitude and recognition to yourself for continuing to breathe, for continuing to be a gift. And many of you know that I work with therapeutic grade essential oils, and so I am calling forth, despite the fact that you may not be able to smell them, despite the fact that you may not be able to hold them, despite the fact that you are not even in the same state with these oils, when I call them forth, they will still be transmitting to you, because these are Young Living essential oils, and Young Living are produced in such a way, this is frankincense I'm calling forth, they're produced in such a way that the chi, the life force, the knowledge, the wisdom of the plant, the tree, the combination of flower, whatever aspect of the plant or tree that is being utilized, is still alive. The divine wisdom within the plant, the tree, what have you, is still here to give, to gift, to bring knowledge, to bring wisdom. So as I said, I'm calling forth the energy of frankincense. I'm also calling forth the energy of myrrh. I'm also calling forth the energy of an oil blend called the gift. And those I'm consciously doing, but now I'm going to ask the oils, who else? What other flavor of wisdom wants to be present with us? And when I do this, my eyes are closed. I do this kinesthetically, so don't know if you can't see, perhaps. Let's see if I can tilt it over. Nope, not going to work. To be able to see, I have a large case of oils, and I simply close my eyes and run my hand over it until my finger stops above. Interesting. This is another strain of frankincense. This is called sacred frankincense. And while it also comes from a tree, it is a variation on the frankincense tree. And this particular oil comes from Oman, the country of Oman. And as far as I know, this is the only company that is actually able to have some of that oil from Oman, from the frankincense trees, because it is still primarily governed and owned by the royal families and the government. Many will say that they are from Oman, but it's actually they're bottled or processed there. they're not the actual plant from Oman. And this has a very different quality. It has a very different feel of it than the traditional frankincense. So, which I believe this comes from Egypt. So we have frankincense as being one of the gifts of to the child Jesus. And frankincense on a scientific basis is fabulous for so many different types of illness, but powerful as far as cancer, different types of cancer, many, many, many issues. So there's more to it than it just being a very valuable oil, a very valuable scent at that point in time in history. Myrrh is another very powerful, beautiful oil, and this is my go-to. This is my go-to for wounds. I've had people that after minor surgery or after surgery on the wound itself will put myrrh, and the healing and the sealing of that wound from the surgery is insanely rapid. And the gift is a beautiful oil blend because we're talking about gifting. Sacred frankincense is a bottling of sacred joy. And interestingly enough, one of my messages from an oracle card this morning was joy. So I'm not surprised that sacred joy is coming forth. And sacred joy is one of the things that you can fill that wish with. Again, the joy of feeling myself in this home with lots of light and air and space and separate area for my healing room, etc., which, by the way, I have and more in this home. Let me check if there's any last one. Yes, there is. And I never know what it is until it's pulling out. I'm laughing because this oil was very, very significant this morning already in speaking to someone and utilizing it because they were coughing from a great deal of dust and kind of polluted air. And this is an oil called RC, which stands for kind of respiratory congestion, respiratory aid, and it has at least 4 different types of eucalyptus, among other things. And this, if a client, if you were sitting in front of me, this would be going on your 3rd chakra and on your innate, in that area that where your sense of yourself and your direct information from your soul comes. So we would be, it's symbolizing the clearing away of any congestion, any stoppage, any interference of your sense of yourself and your power and your place in the world and in the universe, as well as any impediment to you receiving the direct information from your soul. So, beautiful group of oils. I will not ask any more because many will come. They just love participating. They love helping. They love sharing their knowledge and their gifts and their humor. They're very humorous. Beautiful beings, beautiful plant beings, beautiful tree beings, beautiful flower beings. All of which are here combined with all of the other things I mentioned in our crucible, in our container today. The gift of the breath of life. And so I invite you to sit deeply amidst all of this information, all of these factors, that which appears to be wonderful and wondrous and fun and pleasurable, as well as that which is not what we feel we want or wanted. So it's all in the mix, And we are going to allow the divine experts that are presenting at this particular moment, those that are always with you, those that are with you at certain points to help you, teach you, guide you, remind you, and then they may step away. Just as there are those here and now, particularly specializing in evolution. Radical, deep, profound, rapid evolution. And the intergalactic council that I've worked with for decades, called the Ancients, are just that. Experts in humanoid evolution. So they are very present, always, but more so today. And just allow yourself to feel the chair, couch, what have you, underneath you. So often we sit just above whatever we're actually sitting on. Our energy pulls upward, and we do not allow unknowingly to ourselves, do not allow our energy field to settle down and in our body. So just feel the weight of you on the chair, couch, floor. Allow yourself to experience that chair, couch, floor holding you up. That you don't have to worry about falling through it into the earth. It is and will continue to hold you up. So allow yourself to experience the security of that chair or couch or floor, so that you can let down your energy field, so that you don't have to work, effort, sinking down, down and in, down and into you, down and into the chair, the couch. And I'm going to invite you to allow even initially your consciousness to go down and in you. In other words, not following your third eye up and out, but instead turning inward. Not necessarily, again, utilizing your third eye to look or see what's inside, but to simply feel what's inside. Without scanning, without having to come up with something, just sensating, just feeling, just experiencing. And I may continue to speak throughout this process, this practice, simply for the recording and for you to be aware that I am still here and still transmitting, and that you therefore are in an extremely safe, secure container, allowing for you to freely feel whatever there is to feel. Again, you don't have to name it, you don't have to come up with it, you don't have to track it. Just sensate it. Much like when you sink down into a tub of water, you feel the water around you. You feel your body sinking down in that warm water. You don't have to make it happen. The weight of your body, the water itself, surrounds you. That is a simile for what we are inviting in here and now, what I'm inviting you to allow to experience. For in allowing, there is no work. There is no effort. There is no doing whatsoever. Allowing your body and your energy field, which they both know how to do this. And isn't that wonderful, an idea that you don't have to? No effort, no push, no goal, no intention. You are allowing your wise self, your wise helpers, the energetics that are here, the divine beings overseeing the sacred geometry of this configuration that has been being built before the recording started, throughout the time I've been speaking, those people who popped in, those people who are watching now or listening, those people that will watch, listen in the future. Again, remember, it is only human need that creates linear time. It is not actually. A factor when we're talking about these processes, these practices. For you can sink down deeply, sweetly, gently, evermore, and in a matter of 2 minutes, receive, experience, that which in a linear time frame would seem to need hours. You need not follow the words, you need not follow the concepts. As a matter of fact, better still to not. I'm only continuing to speak, for through my voice, transmissions come forward, and you don't have to worry about whether you're on, whether the internet, Facebook, what have you. No worries. Let yourself, allow yourself to simply feel, simply sensate, simply experience the alchemy The beautiful blending of so many different factors. So many different energetics. So many different moments. For you are bringing your lifetime to this crucible. So too is the history of human beings on this planet. We carry all of that within us, and therefore it is in this beautiful, powerful, safe, secure container, allowing for the wisdom that goes far beyond our human capability, even in regard to plants and trees and flowers. We know nothing, relatively. And yet we have this beautiful gifting, advantage of having access to all of this knowledge, wisdom, resources, gifts. Continue to allow. It is not easy, for we are not constructed socially, humanly, to just lean in and allow for things to be done for us. As much as that was our deepest desires as children. And given the fact that it rarely occurred, our imprint is that we must do, we must act, we must know, we must figure it out, we must anticipate. All of which is very contrary to what a child internally, innately, instinctively expects. So as this holiday, the Epiphany, Three Kings Day, allow that child that is spoken of, that is sung about, that is written about, that childlikeness within you. The more you allow, the more that natural instinctive, intuitive, innate, primal child can come forth within you to receive the gifts. To be the gift. Giving and receiving is the same circle. And when we break that circle, consciously, unconsciously, the flow of giving and receiving must be regenerated again, must be allowed. So the more you allow yourself to receive the energetic gifts that are here, the wisdom, the gifts of wisdom through the plants and the trees and these young living essential oils, through the gifts of nature around you, wherever you may be, in whatever form, desert, mountain, cloud, tree, soil, all giftiness, all day, every day. And allowing yourself as you receive more deeply all that is here, being given, gifted, channeled, transmitted, offered to you. You are energizing the circle in that receiving. So that you can gift whether it's to other humans, animals, the clouds, the trees, the flowers, the birds, simply by acknowledging, recognizing, enjoying that gift continues the circle. For as they are receiving and giving, you are receiving and giving, ever perpetuating. Beautiful back and forth. As you look up at the night sky and notice and acknowledge the stars as those three wise men of old recognized a new and very particular star and received the guidance that they must go to the exact position under this star. There to find a beautiful gift. And to offer their gifts. Allow yourself to drop another level deeper into whatever you may be feeling. No work, no effort, no doing, simply allowing. For the energetics are going more penetratingly within, so that the very depths of you can receive take in, drink in this new never before created configuration brought about through the alchemical processing of all that is within this container, all that you are. Whether you are listening in this moment or any time in the future, you are included in this process. For such is the extent and reach. Of your very soul. And all those souls in on this. New way of human being. And as we begin to allow for the energies to embed within our body, our energy field, allow your energy field, its wisdom, to bring you in your own timing, in your own pace, in your own speed, in your own form, from what was perhaps a less physical experience back to a more physical based experience, such as that of this earthly reality, if you want to call it that. And enjoy the sensation of feeling yourself, both less than physical and physical. Experiencing more, perhaps, of your energy field, whatever that may mean. And don't wrap your head around it, just feel. There's this space where you're a little bit less defined physically, and then there's another space where there is more physical sensation. And as you're gradually moving back to a more physical experience, I just want to remind everyone this, if you've only seen a little teeny few minutes, this will be posted here on Facebook. It will also be on, as are about 130 different videos with a deep drop-in, usually the second half. They're all on my YouTube channel, A Healer's Universe. I'll post it. And again, see on the Three Kings Day, the Epiphany, what it is that you are gifting, what it is that you are wishing for. Again, write out those wishes, one subject, one area of your life, succinctly, shortly, clearly, completed, but moreover, the feelings that it will engender, what you will experience when you're in that granted wish, let's call it, when you've received the gift of that wish. And again, I'm happy to tweak them and look for, if I don't have your email, please get it to me so that I can keep you apprised of, for example, on the 25th, the all-day ending of old, creating a new workshop retreat. And in the meantime, please know that you are welcome to come back into this container again and again and again. Just put on the recording and keep feeling and deepening into the energetics that are here, gifting you and receiving from you as you do so. So you're gifting back. And always know that it is with the deepest of honor, gratitude, and love for your presence here on the planet. Until next time, next Friday, be well.